Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blank. And Tyler, we're back.
We're so back, Brad. And we're not alone. We are joined once again by DC Hendrix. Guys, we are, this week is all about The Rock, right? It's the road to WrestleMania. One of the biggest stars on the card, one of the biggest stars in the world is here. And we got to discuss his career. Obviously, yesterday we had a great discussion about The Rock and his GOAT status on the mic and his best promos. Today, we are talking feuds. I'm not even going to be long-winded here. DC, what are your favorite feuds of The Rock's career?
That's so tough. I mean, I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of similar ones right here. Like, I mean, obviously, you can't talk feuds with The Rock without mentioning Stone Cold, right?
Of course.
A feud that, you know, a lot of people don't know, Stone Cold won more. I actually didn't know that. I was doing a podcast once because I have a wrestling podcast outside of this as well with my buddies. It's called WrestleHolics. And we were debating this because one of my co-hosts, he's a huge Rock fan, like bigger than me, which I never thought was possible. But he is like, he knows like all the stats. And we're like talking who's the greatest of all time one day. And I'm like, you know, I got to go Stone Cold. I went Stone Cold. And, you know, he agreed with me, which threw me off. I'm like I was doing it, you know, sometimes where you try to create a debate, right? You try to bait them into an argument. So I was trying to bait him into arguing with me that The Rock was better. And he laid it on me that Stone Cold won more matches in their feud. And it just feels weird to say that and to look that up because, like, the feud, first of all, they faced each other like 3 or 4 times and all great matches, all big stories, and one of the greatest feuds of all time. So, like, but I always thought for some reason growing up, I thought The Rock won more. I don't know why, but that just, again, he's just that good. Like, he makes you feel like he won when he didn't. He's just that good. Yes. But, like, I don't think of any feuds more than Stone Cold. Stone Cold and The Rock, one of the best WrestleMania matches, WrestleMania 17. One of the best WrestleMania matches I remember.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Triple H, obviously, another big feud with him, and a great match that in that feud, I got to go back to the Iron Man match, Judgment Day 2000. Big match and big feud with Triple H. Obviously, Mankind, he comes to mind, and then Hollywood, Rock and Sock connection, and then Hollywood and Hogan, right? Though for me, those are the main ones that come to mind. All great feuds, all memorable moments. So those are I don't think of The Rock feuds more than any of those.
No, those are the 3 big ones. I think for when he returned, you could put Cena up there for that year-long feud that ended up getting pretty personal. And then ironically, Cena finding out, oh, never mind, I'm completely wrong, and this is so much harder than I thought it was. So I put one on here that I thought would be kind of a surprise. I wanted to go away that I knew you guys were not going to go for this, and it started with his debut, and that's Chris Jericho. The Chris Jericho.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, I knew. My favorite WWE debut of all time. Like, I look at it a little differently now, but my favorite at the time WWE debut, I loved it so much. I was a huge Jericho fan when he was in WCW. I always wanted him to be in the title picture, and obviously that was never going to happen with the way that was set up over there. But I absolutely loved him, and for him to come out and be the first thing was interrupting The Rock. That's how he debuted, and then The Rock giving him it doesn't matter what your name is right out the gate. And then I think it was that night The Rock had a title match or something. He had a match and Jericho cost him the match. And then, you know, the invasion angle happened. And it was WCW versus WWF versus, what was it, the Alliance, I guess it would have been, instead of WWF. And Jericho stayed on the WWF side, but he was beefing with The Rock. He's like, you're taking my spot. And they had a great feud out of that. I really enjoyed all of that. And then, you know, Mankind, I have him, actually, I'm going to have him in one of my moments. So I'm going to keep it for that. Actually a couple of the moments. But it was Chris Jericho, but otherwise I have Stone Cold's John Cena, his feud, Triple H, and then Mankind on there as well.
Real quick, like, I love that Jericho one, and it was one that I forgot for a minute. And another one I believe The Rock came out short on. Didn't Jericho win that one too? He ended up taking the title from him.
He took. Oh. Yes, he did.
He
Yeah.
beat Rock
Had
and,
no
and
mercy.
Austin in the same night, right?
Yes. Yes. It was
Yeah.
the triple threat. Yeah.
Wow,
Another one.
It's a great
Yeah.
call, DC.
Was that Jericho's first title win too?
I believe it was.
I think that was
It
the first
It
unified
one.
the
had
titles.
to be, right?
Yeah, the unified
right.
ones. He had the 2 belts. Yeah.
One of his biggest accomplishments.
Yeah. Yeah. The night he found out in catering that he was winning. Yes.
that's
a good one.
how that's how it be sometimes. I mean, you guys covered some phenomenal feuds there. I have a few on my list, so of course, kind of going in chronological order. Unseating Faarooq in the Nation of Domination. So we're going way back to 1997 here. Obviously, I was watching the Attitude Era as well, and that really, kind of proved to be a huge launching pad for The Rock's ascension in the industry. You guys mentioned it, Triple H/DX, Stone Cold. I wanted to touch on John Cena here because this was really unique in that they main evented Rock v. Cena at WrestleMania 28 in 2012, and it was promoted as once in a lifetime. And then twice in a lifetime happened when they ran it back the following year in 2013. But I say this not to be redundant, but to add an additional wrinkle here. I was doing some research and reminding myself what was going on, because this is where Brad knows this, DC. I think you might be hearing this for the first time. This is where I kind of fell out of love for wrestling. I was in college at the time, and I just wasn't watching the product weekly. So again, going back and doing some digging, it's so interesting leading up to their rematch heading into WrestleMania 29 in 2013, because if you guys recall, the Royal Rumble, January 2013, a few months before WrestleMania, it was here actually in Phoenix, Arizona at then US Airways Center. Do you guys remember the main event of that show? It wasn't the Royal Rumble match itself. It was a main event involving The Rock that proved pivotal on his chase for John Cena. Do you remember what that main event was?
Do not.
Was it Santino?
It was not. It was The Rock defeating CM Punk.
Oh, it's the
to
Punk
become
match.
the world champion. And then
right.
That's remember him getting just go ahead. Yeah.
And earlier in that night, Cena won the Royal Rumble, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this was a pivotal show for these guys. The additional wrinkle for the rematch was Cena won the Rumble, Rock is the champ, the belt's on the line, and of course Cena won in the rematch. So
right.
Historically, they're tied 1-1. Will we get a rubber match? Who knows? But that was really interesting. I forgot that occurred. But you guys nailed it, man. Chris Jericho, Mankind. Again, the feud with CM Punk, which then led to CM Punk's exodus, right? Not too long after, because he's upset about situations like this. So very consequential. But yeah, you guys are right. There's just been so many signature feuds. And to DC's point, even Brad, to your point too, it's not just about the work rate for The Rock. It truly is the stories, the promos, how invested we are and have been in these feuds. And if I'm not convincing you, just look now at where we're at and how perception of the WrestleMania main event has changed. I was feeling a bit skeptical going into it. And now through The Rock's promo, through his storytelling, I'm fully hooked. I can't wait for the big show in Philly.
Yeah, I believe we haven't even seen his biggest feud. I think his feud with Roman Reigns is going to end up being his greatest feud of all time.
I agree.
DC Cook, you got to stay on that, man. Tell us more. That's
bold. I just think this is something, right? This is something that you can take so far. I mean, like, obviously you have even up and coming Feuds that haven't even debuted yet. They're attending the shows. We know they're going to sign eventually. Like, they're already going to the shows. They're backstage. Like, come on, Jacob's going to be in there. Zilla's going to be in there. We know it already. We know what's happening. And like, this is something like I can see Solo turning. Like, this is originally, I thought Solo was going to be the one to ruin Roman's title. And I was wrong. They completely have went away from Solo since beating Cena. That's a conversation for another day. But there's so many different layers to this. I think Solo plays an equation. Like I said, you have other, cousins and brothers that are on their way to WWE. This is a storyline that could go. I mean, look how long the Bloodline storyline is already went. Like, this goes back to Jay and Roman in front of no crowd in 2020. So like, I think
Thunderdome vibes.
Yes.
I think we're about halfway there, fellas. I think we're halfway there, and I think The Rock Roman is going to be the end of it. But we're going to get this feud for a long time, and I think this is going to end up, once we finally get the end of that story, I think that'll end up being bigger than Stone Cold.
I'm with you, man. Like I've been thinking about this a lot lately too, because of The Rock is backing away from doing lots of movies. He said he only wants to do stuff with A24 and do like all of these small projects and do things that are passionate for him. But now he's on the board, and it seems like he found his passion for wrestling again. Not that it ever left, but it's like, I want to go make this art. I did the wrestling thing for years. I don't need to do it. I've fulfilled myself, and now he's back, and I think he realizes, oh, this could be even better than what I thought. And being on the board and being an investor now, it's like, if he's making money there, he's making money for everybody. So it makes sense. I think there's so much potential here. Zilla versus Solo for the right to use the spike is going to be something else, because Solo is going to be like, he's my uncle gave it to me. It's like, yeah, well, that was my dad. There's meat on the bone there. There's so many directions that this can go. I'm not fully convinced The Rock is all heel here. I think he turns at Mania and then starts the Roman story right away. But I who knows what happens. I'm just here for it. I can't wait to see what happens, and I think that will be his biggest feud, because we didn't even put Cody on here yet.
No,
and this feud's been great yet.
We didn't even mention his name until now.
Yeah,
how nuts is that?
Yeah, well, it's The Rock.
He's done some things.
Yeah, he's done one or two. Yeah.
Like, we didn't even mention, I know Booker T.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Booker T was a good one. Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle.
Yes. Man.
Yeah. Early 2000s.
Jonathan Coachman.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Coach got a shot.
Kind of. I mean,
Ken
like,
Shamrock.
That's wild. Ken Shamrock.
Early.
IC Jones.
The IC feud was incredible. Yes.
So there's a lot.
Yes. Owen Hart. Like, there was a lot there. Man. Okay.
Wow.
Coachman was sort of a joke. That dude,
they
were beefing. They were beefing for a while, but
I think him and Michael Cole, right? Rock and Michael Cole have also had some back and forth, and of course, like JR, and man, there's been so much. Guys, this was such a fun conversation. Of course, we are not done though. We have 2 more installments of our 4-part Rock series. Our next episode will be focusing on the greatest moments of the Rock's career, which I'm sure we will touch on many, and then we will conclude this week with a conversation about The Rock in Hollywood, specifically discussing his film and television career. We thank you so much for joining us. DC, thank you for being here, and we will see you all again very soon.